What is the most smart-ass thing you've said to a cop without getting a ticket? Can you say your alphabet to J for me? Which one of you dudes is J? Can you say the alphabet backwards? Teb a pla. I just picked up my paycheck back in high school. Must have been 16 or 17 and a fairly new driver. Officer pulled me over for not pulling completely into the road going from driveway to driveway. Like, I drove 10 feet on the wrong side, but there was no traffic. Officer, can you afford a ticket as a new driver? Dumbass me. I did just pick up my paycheck. It wasn't until afterwards that I thought more along the lines of having the demerit or points on my license is more than likely what he meant. Let me go with a warning. Driving through Kansas City, I got pulled over. I was wearing a Twins cap. Cop said something about being ready to give me a warning, but then he saw my cap. I said, "Hey, it's not like the Royals and Twins have been good at the same time." He said he's actually a Cubs fan, and I couldn't stop myself from saying, "Oh, I'm sorry." He laughed and gave me a warning. Who's sorry now? We were in a car park just off the motorway in a Toyota MR2. Police pulled in and got out of their car. One of the officers put his hand on the hood of the MR2 and said, "Bonnet's a bit hot. Been ragging it, have we?" I replied, "Funny that, mate. It's rear engine." The second officer found it hilarious. The first looked incredibly embarrassed. Funny aside, the MR2 is named differently in France, because MR2 sounds rude in French. Toyota MR2. I was waiting to buy something at a store, but there was no one behind the cash register. There was already a lady in line in front of me, who seemed to have been waiting for a while. We rang the little bell a couple of times, but no one appeared. After waiting some time, I joked, "We should just steal the stuff. That will get their attention." The lady in front of me responded by showing me her dry cleaning bag, full of police uniforms. So I said the first thing that came to mind. "You have to get your uniforms dry cleaned? Does that get expensive?" And we ended up having a cheerful conversation about dress codes and employee perks, and the laundry facilities in different neighborhood apartment buildings, and the turnaround time of different neighborhood dry cleaners until the cashier finally showed up. I would have said something like, "How many police officers did you kill to get those uniforms?" Got pulled over on my motorcycle. Cop, do you know why I pulled you over? Me. 'Cause I wasn't wearing my seatbelt? He got a chuckle and I only got a warning. Next cop didn't find it nearly as amusing. Have a friend who had a bike that actually got ticketed for not wearing a seatbelt while riding. He of course fought the ticket in court and it was dismissed. Cop just wanted to waste my friend's time, I guess. Cop, were you eating an apple while driving? Me. Can't I eat while I drive? Cop. No. Me. But I can smoke. Cop. Yes. Me. Then I was smoking the apple. Cop. Were you drinking a Coke whilst driving? Me. Can't I drink and drive? Cop. Definitely not. Me. But I could smoke? Cop. Yes. Me. Then I was smoking some Coke. Cop. Please step out of the car, sir. I once pulled myself over after I blew through a red light, since there was a cop right there. I was a new driver, saw him, and freaked out. He asked me why he shouldn't write me a ticket, and I told him, "I really don't want you to." Got off with a warning. I made a left on a red light and cut off a cop doing it. I immediately pulled over. I had my license and registration in my hand when he came up to the window. He asked what I was thinking, and I told him that I was headed home and pointed at my house, and that familiarity bred contempt, and that blowing that light was a bad habit. He waved me on home without even a warning. I work nights, so the cops will occasionally cruise through our parking lot in the middle of nowhere and just check things out. I was outside on my break smoking and playing Jetpack Joyride when they lowered their window. "What are you doing here at this time of night?" "My job." "What are you doing here at this time of night?" "Our jobs. Have a nice night." "You too." Montreal cops are nice, despite their silly pants. When I was there, they were all wearing denim as a form of labor protest. At first, I just thought Canadian cops wore denim. He asked me if I had a dead body in my backseat. I said, "Oh, totally. You want to meet him? He's kind of shy. He laughed. Told his partner. He said totally. Took my license, sat in their car for a minute, then drove up next to me, handed me my cards from their window, and drove off. I later realized that a coat and hat were on top of a mess in my backseat and actually could have looked like a dead body. That's a trick they use. If you laugh, you probably don't have anything to hide, but if you say no sternly, they'd probably search the car. Cop pulled me and my friend over when we were both 17. Pretty sure he just saw a couple of teens in a car late at night and figured we were up to no good. That being said, we had a lot of weed in the car, in a bag. Cop comes over and is like, "So, you have anything illegal in the car?" "Just my good looks," I reply. Cop laughs and lets us leave. My heart just about gave out, it was beating so fast. Either you follow rules 1 and 2, or you are ugly and he felt sorry for you. He told me how much over the limit I was going, and I said, "Well, you looked bored sitting there, so I figured I'd give you something to do." Laughed and let me off the whole thing with a warning. I said something similar to a doctor before he put staples in my head. He did not let me off with a warning. I was flying back from Europe once. At the Brussels airport, I bought a jar of mustard in duty-free. They sealed it in a special bag. Put it in my carry-on. Get it through customs, no problem. Bringing it back through TSA in the US, at a major international airport, it gets confiscated. It is in a sealed jar, in a sealed bag, having clearly been bought at an airport and just brought through an international border. TSA guy confiscates it. Told him to keep saving the country one jar of mustard at a time. Yeah, TSA Customs are stupid. When I was 13 and coming back from a vacation in England, I had some guy completely scream at me because I dared to pull my old-ass iPod out of my pocket for about 2 seconds to check the time, not realizing that was a problem. I got screamed at by some grouchy, middle-aged dude, and he went on for a solid minute over it. Like, is that really necessary to flip on some kid over something so stupid? Just say, "Hey, that's not allowed. Put it away." In college, once thanked a cop for not being a dickhead about it. You know, like most officers are, after getting ticketed. He wrote it all down, and the judge repeated that to me when I fought the ticket in court. She was clearly amused, and I got out of the ticket. Yeah, don't ever swear in front of a cop. They'll travel through heaven and hell to make sure every expletive you say gets on the report. This didn't get me out of a ticket, but it gave the cop a pretty good laugh. He asked why I was going 52 in a 35, and I told him, general lack of awareness. If you were going 53 miles per hour, you could have said dyslexia. Years ago, during a heavy drug-fueled bender at a London festival, I walked up to some policemen and said, "Guess what I'm on?" They smirked and told me to move on. The only way you can get arrested for drugs at a festival is if they catch you selling hard drugs in front of them. If they were to arrest everyone who had taken something at a festival, there would be no festival. Friend got pulled over doing about 20 over. We were college kids at the time. Officer walks over to the window, does his normal, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" routine, and then turns to me when it's all done and asks, "So should I give your friend here a ticket?" With a smile, I said, "Yes, sir. He most likely deserves it." Cop laughed, smiled, and walked away. There were 3 of us in a car one time when my buddy got pulled over. The cop asked us the same thing, and the 2 of us were like, "Nah, he's a good guy. He only got a warning, so it works both ways, I guess, lol." My birthday 3 years ago. I was crossing the street to my car when suddenly 2 squad cars pulled up, each with 2 officers in them for some reason. As I was unlocking my car, all 4 got out of their cars and approached me. One of them asked me to please stop and walk over to them. I did. Then he asked me if I knew why they were stopping me, to which I replied, "I'm assuming you're strippers." "Excuse me?" "Yes, you must be strippers. It's my birthday, and 4 suspiciously good-looking police officers just stopped me for absolutely no reason. 3 laughed, 1 did not. I then had to wait for 10 minutes while he wrote me a warning for jaywalking. I'm sorry. 4 cops had to warn you for jaywalking? Were you carrying a flamethrower or something? When I was a kid, my parents had one of those Oldsmobile silhouette minivans with a long nose. I was driving it, and I accelerated to get through a yellow light before it turned red. That's when the cop turned on the lights. When he got to the window, he asked, "Do you know what a yellow light means, son?" I said, "That means it's going to turn red soon." He said, "No, it means clear the intersection." I told him, "Officer, with the size of this vehicle and at the rate I was moving, had anything entered the intersection, I'd have cleared it right out. I promise." He laughed and told me that since I'd caught him off guard and made him laugh, he would let me off with a warning. Our state passed a law that says if any part of the vehicle is past the white line and in the intersection while the light turns from yellow to red, you're legally allowed to proceed through. TN July 1st, 2015. I now speed up at yellows. Me and 3 friends made a big cranberry vodka in a liter cranberry bottle, and were walking toward a bar in Manhattan passing it around. One friend was holding it when a cop slowly pulled up to us. I was the one closest to his window, and he waved me over and asks me, "Why is your friend holding a bottle of cranberry juice?" It was pretty obvious it wasn't just cranberry on a Friday night in the East Village. I said, "He's on his period." The cop laughed and made us dump it. Cranberry juice is good for UTIs for future reference. You may be able to swing that one.